Right now, and those who read and admire the New York Times, there's been a 2-week series of articles about their senior critics' top 10 composers. Anthony Tomasini's a very good man, very good writer, and I just can't tell you how excited I have been to read this series. But he said, most people want to do a countdown, 10 to 1, and number 1 is. So Tomasini said, we're just going to skip that part, and we're going to name number 1 right now. And that was J.S. Bach. Now this is from a man whose work is basically to review opera, huge symphonic events, concerts that might not necessarily involve the music of J.S. Bach. But there he named him, and he gave the reasons, and he named one reason, the Kyrie of the B minor Mass. And I was just sitting there reading that, I think, oh yes, this is so right. And this would be my answer as well. I'm not one of those people who say, I love the music of Bach because he informed everything that came after him. He may have, but that means nothing to me. That doesn't matter to me. It's Bach whose energy and color and passion and imagination are without parallel. And thank goodness he wrote for choirs and he wrote for vocalists. And we'll never, as long as we try, I don't think we'll ever get it all in our lifetime. So Bach is at the top, and the Hartford Chorale sings Bach. The first thing I conducted was that Christmas oratorio. 2 years later, we did one half of it, then we did the second half. The chorale showed right away it can be agile, it can dance the music of Bach, and we did it. So Bach is there if I'm going to name the first. If I'm going to go down the list, I won't do a countdown, but composers that I really love are from the Russian tradition, and those would be Tchaikovsky and Rachmaninoff. More for their instrumental music. I think if I were asked to say, what composer would you give up last? Even though I've talked about Bach as being my preference, the last one to go for me would have to be Tchaikovsky, because I know of no one who just grabs your heart and just holds it there for a while and puts it back in. And so I love his music, love Rachmaninoff's music. They both wrote for choirs, liturgical music, and that's exquisite, and it's got to remain in place, and I love preparing and presenting those pieces. But so I think it's kind of an odd thing, but I think it's Bach and 19th century Russian composers.